There we go. So hopefully.
Hi everyone, Ursula here. I'm just gonna.
Sorry. I leave that alone. I'm not touching this anymore. My phone's muted. We're good. Whatever.
Well, it makes me look like we're on, but right now, I see where you posted that. Just a few minutes.
They're not telling you that it's live?
It's not telling me I'm live yet, so I just need some, I got to get to my page and see why that's not happening. I see my old live, but I'm not seeing this live. So, can I rename you? Oh, wait, I can't rename you. You have to rename you.
What's that?
I guess never mind. I don't need, never mind. Just getting clubbed down to the details for a second as try and figure out what the actual, oh, there was an error. That's why. Let's try this again. I wrote a whole bunch too. I'm annoyed. I guess that I can always change the title later, so we'll just go live and then
Are we live? We're just sitting here talking to ourselves.
we're just sitting here talking to ourselves right now. It's thinking, the wheel is thinking. Ursula, Darby.
Right here. I'm right here. Right here.
I'm not even adding a title. I'm just trying to get us to go live. I think last time. Okay.
We're live.
This went flawlessly yesterday, or almost flawlessly.
We're live, by the way. It says on the screen.
It does say it. Okay. Well, it does. Okay.
Hi.
I'm just going to wait until I see it, yo. Because I can't see it yet. All right, it looks like we are live. Fantastic, we are. I'm having an issue getting it onto my page right now so that I can actually see. So what I'm going to do is begin, and it all says we're live, which is fantastic. So perfect, there we go. So I am so excited for what we're doing here and why we're here right now. It is my absolute amazing pleasure to introduce to you a good friend of mine. Let me turn this down so I can't. An amazing friend of mine. We met at a, what would you call it?
We met at a class for other mediums.
There we go. We met at a class for other mediums, and for other mediums. It wasn't for us. It was for other mediums.
Let's be clear about that.
Let's just stop there.
We were lumped in, but yeah, we were there. We were there.
We were there, but we weren't necessarily, anyway. So Ursula is a psychic medium. She is an animal communicator. She is an evidential medium. I am an evidential medium. We are here to talk about mediumship. We are here to talk about what makes a good medium, how to decide who you're going to see when you're a medium. And really, Ursula is beyond hilarious. Can we talk about some of the other things you did prior to, well, as you were working as a medium?
Some of my other careers.
Some of your other careers?
I was a stand-up comedian before.
Stand-up comedian. She is hilarious. So,
Drop any F-bombs.
what? Yeah, we'll try not to swear. That's so. It's kind of like you're going to be on a phone conversation. Look, my teeth looks like New Zealand every now and then.
Oh my God, I see the country in your teeth. Oh my gosh, I think of getting a message, kidding people.
Okay. So what I want to do is, while you're out there watching and Facebook Live, share this, because we're hoping that you really, oh, sweet. People are saying hi. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Amy. Hi, Nona. Just giving good. Hi, Janine. J-Rock, as I like. Shelly, it's good to see you. Helen. Sean, we have a lot of people here with us tonight. Share this with everybody, because we're really going to talk deep about mediumship. Now, does that mean you're going to get a reading today? No, we're not doing readings today. We definitely are going to talk about the value of a good reading and kind of maybe the detrimental side of a bad reading, or somebody who may not be ready to do readings, or somebody who may not be a medium and thinking they're medium. All right, I'm going to shut up. So Ursula, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, if we're going to talk about my profession, I've been working professionally for 16 years now. It has been quite the journey before getting into my profession. My experiences started when I was quite young. They started at the age of 5. So for the past, okay, so everyone, you're going to do some math, I'm sure you are. So the past 42 years I've been seeing spirit, but you know, not working with them ongoing until the last 16. So it's been quite the journey. It's been really interesting, and I love what I do. It is so important to me, so important for me through my own experiences before becoming professional, understanding, recognizing that your people in spirit are always there for you. And for some reason, some of us ignore it. And I'm here to tell you that not to.
So the other thing that Ursula does is Ursula is also an animal communicator, which I think is quite amazing. I keep trying to talk to my dog, but he just doesn't talk back, or I don't get it. I don't understand. So do you want to tell us maybe a little bit about some of the experiences you've had? Maybe you've had a couple memorable experiences as an animal communicator that you would like to share with us?
Well, the way that I can explain animal communication literally is, if you're gonna kind of make it easier to understand, is calling myself a pet psychic. So
Okay.
I read, just like I read people, I read animals. So when I'm reading a person or an animal, I see what they see, I hear what they hear around them, and I feel in my body how they feel. So anything medical, emotional, physical, things like that too. With animals, it's different. So it's not like a full-on conversation where the animal's like, hey, here, you want to hang out with me? Let me tell you some stuff. That's not how it happens. So when I tap into reading an animal, and I've given permission from their caregiver, I tap into them, and then immediately, as soon as I look at them, often I work online and I read an animal's picture. I don't need to be sitting in front of them to read them. I don't need to do that at all. As soon as I see their picture, I immediately feel everything about them.
Okay.
And then it's like I see what they see. So I start to see their home, their people around them, what they're doing, and I'll also see their behaviors. So I'll see why they have behaviors that aren't serving them or everyone else around them. I'll see how they've been cultivated, what's happened, and what's happening with everyone else around them too. So it's really helpful in behavior.
Well, if it turns out that it works out, we have a dog here who needs to be communicated with. If that works out, then great. And if it doesn't, no sweat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So
I think the most interesting thing is when what people don't recognize is that animals aren't complex and layered like human beings are. So animals are straight up, and they will tell me in the reading if they like you or not, and why. So I kind of find it entertaining that I have to find a really soft way to be like, okay, so listen, Karen, I just want to let you know that Maddie doesn't really like when you pull them out from underneath him. And you know what I mean? Like I get into the whole conversation of expressing why and what's going on. And so that can sometimes be a little bit frustrating, but I find it really entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, because I see the whole scenario, then I got to break it to their companion.
you break the bad news gently to their owners, right?
Yeah. So listen, he doesn't like it when you stroke him between the eyes. It makes him crazy. It makes him nuts. He doesn't like his nose being touched. He's hypersensitive to his nose being touched. It's enough that he gets to smell everything, right? Those kinds of things.
Right. That's so cool. That is such an amazing experience. So, how about we talk a little bit about mediumship and maybe how that came to be for you? What did that look like, feel like in your life?
Came to be meaning like, how did I notice it? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, how did you notice it, or how did you I guess start from ground zero, wherever you'd like to go with that question.
So to start out, I remember starting at the age of 5, and I could have remembered earlier. Me no know though, really.
Right.
I just remember before I'd fall asleep, I would feel the presence in the room, but I knew I slept in my room alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I would feel that, and then I would start to hear people talking to each other almost inaudibly, like when you hear a crowd and you're just out of earshot, but you can make out what they're saying, but you're not quite sure. I would feel my bed go down, the mattress go down. I'd feel someone sit on the bed.
Yeah.
I would, and I would get so terrified that I would pull the sheets up over my head and start to sweat and hold my breath, hoping that whatever this was wouldn't notice me. So over time, I still didn't even know. I didn't know that that was being a medium or that these were people in spirit. So I was always scared, and it always happened at night. It never happened in my waking hours. So I would make my brother sleep in the spare bed in my room. And years later, as an adult, he told me how terrified he was to stay in any room with me at night.
Oh, did he sense things too, or did he just experience?
Every single time, every time I would either sneak it, because both of us had spare beds in our rooms for some reason, for whatever reason. I would either sneak out of my room, run into his, and sleep in the spare bed. And then he would see people in spirit around the room as well. And he said he couldn't stand it, made him crazy. But we didn't know this, right? As children, we didn't know.
Right.
And my next most vivid experience that I can recall is when my grandma passed, and I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
My parents had told I knew my grandma had been in the hospital, was suffering with cancer, and they had told us that she had passed. And I had gone to bed that night, and I remember telling myself, "Please don't come and see me. Please don't come and see me. Please don't come and see me. I'm here. Don't do this." And I had a dream about her, and I was playing on the driveway out the front of my house, and I saw her out of the corner of my eye, and she walked up to me, and I was scared to death because I knew she passed away. I understood what that was as a child. I knew she was gone. And she stood there, and I froze, and she said to me, "I wanted to come to tell you that I love you. I wanted to come to tell you that I'm okay." And she went to hug me, and I was so scared that I had whispered to her, "Please don't come back."
Please don't what? I'm sorry, say that again.
Don't come back.
Oh, right, because you were scared, right? Terrified.
And she didn't recognize that. And then at 21, she showed up again in a dream and came and talked to me and had a full conversation. And now she visits me with a whole lot of frequency, and I hear her very clearly.
Do you feel as if she helped you in your journey, like into mediumship, into like I know a lot about you, so I don't want to like just gloss over some of the details. So
my grandma. So there wasn't anyone that helped me in my mediumship at all. I was
that's what I want to talk about.
I was out in the middle of nowhere without any help.
Right.
My grandma didn't show up again to help me out, and that's not how I see when our people in spirit pass. They're not here to necessarily guide us or be spirit guides to us. Mm-hmm. So on my journey to try to understand what my experiences were, because I didn't know what a medium was, I've never really heard of it before. I just thought, there's really cool people that do those really amazing things. There's no way in heck that I could ever do them myself. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, I have experiences every single day of my life when I'm like, what is that thing? There's something wrong with me. I'm crazy. There's something, I'm unstable. I must be making all these things up. And I wasn't. So I delved into my late teens. I started reading about the metaphysical, spirituality, all different kinds of books. Every single thing I could find in the library, I got my hands on, and I read everything I could find. It was voracious. I wouldn't leave it alone.
I did the same thing.
Except 5 books on the go.
Library. I went to to the bookstores, and then I just read everything at the bookstore.
You just went to the New Age section. You're like, I'm here. I'm not leaving.
That's right.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Just
that book's on. Right. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just everybody leave me alone. I'm here. Come and get me when the store closes, and then we're done. That's exactly
what you're like, oh my gosh, she's here again. I wish she would just go home.
I can only imagine people were like, oh my, I've had enough.
Yeah. So I didn't start to make sense out of mediumship. I started to understand in my mid-20s that it was being a medium. But I just kept having experiences, and I kept dismissing them. But I recognized when I started to share with people around me that they were like, how do you know that? And I'm like, what?
But doesn't everybody know that?
How do you know that thing? And I'm like, well, don't you see that? They're like, no. I'm like, never mind. Never mind. I'm making it up. Look away.
But look,
Look away. And I started practicing. So I started reading books and practicing different techniques that I would read in different books about psychic ability, intuitive ability, spirituality, the metaphysical, all that kind of stuff. And when I practiced, I would get things right, which sounds creepy and egotistical, but I'd be like, shut up. How did I just know that?
right?
And it's the strangest thing. And I still feel like that to this day. So when I read someone and I say, I've got this, 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 and this, and they're like, how did you know that? I even wanted to say to myself, oh my God, no way. How did I know that? No,
You know, it's so much fun because we were talking last night, and we were like, when we were trying to figure out how, you know, because usually we're just going to let this conversation sort of lead us, but we ended up talking forever last night, didn't we? We just had a fantastic conversation, and we were talking about how different we are as mediums and how different our work is. I mean, not necessarily our work. Our work is the same, right? Like our work is the same, but how different we came into who we are as our strength as a medium. And you,
the way that you work as a medium blows my mind.
We are really different on this. You're right.
I'd be like, you don't get a reading today. Why? Because I'm not ready. Right. I wouldn't be able to function the way that you do. I just, because, and I've interrupted you.
No, that's fine. I want everybody to be a part of like how our conversations really work. We talk about this stuff all the time.
Every medium's different. Everyone's really different. A friend of mine in Ottawa, she's really detailed, really gentle, really slow. It takes her time. And when I say slow, just she can describe everything and anything in such detail and is so patient with it. When I'm just like, oh my gosh, I got to get it up. La 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 la. Here, I've got this. Like there's just this different feeling in different way that we all present or how it shows up for us. And I referenced how you work and how I work. Jenny and I are different with how we prepare.
Yeah.
Completely different with how we prepare. In my experience growing up, I have always seen, heard, and felt people in spirit. It's never stopped for me. They didn't take a pause. I wasn't that person that said, oh, I want this to go away. I can't deal with this anymore. When I did do that at 27, it got so loud. It was terrifying. That people in spirit were like, oh, you can't hear me? Let's just do this now. Open a door, slam a door, take something, hide something on me, lock something, open. I had spirit open my bolted lock door when I lived alone to a walkout patio.
Oh my gosh.
3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock.
You want to see us? Here you go. I'm like, can you pick the most terrifying time of the night while I live alone with a pitch black dark backyard? No, go ahead. Go ahead, scare me. Do your thing. Nice work. Thank you. You did.
Thank you very much. Right. I really appreciate that. Right. But so I say that, and I'm only interjecting because the way I worked was so different, is that I did get turned off. I was like, totally can do this head down, not pay attention for most of my life. I didn't have those experiences. I had whiffs of it. I had ideas of it, but I didn't have a spirit opening a sliding glass door at 3 o'clock a deadbolted sliding glass door at 3 o'clock in the morning. That didn't happen. Weird things would happen around me that were kind of like, okay.
What was weird then? So, because I hear this all the time when someone says to me, and I say to someone, I'm a psychic medium, the first thing they say is this, oh my God, I have a weird story for you. And I'm like, do you realize what my job is, right?
These things happen all the time. So
what are those weird things?
Okay, so it's going to seem trivial. It's going to seem
nothing's trivial.
So I would be going out at 16, 17, 18 years old, and if I was going out, I would all of a sudden have this real urge to like. I remember a very specific time where I had to like grab a specific screwdriver. I had to have this screwdriver. I went into the garage, went into my dad's tools, grabbed a tool, put it in the car, and then 3 hours later, I really wish we had this tool. I'm like, hang on a second. It's in my car. I have it.
You're that clear that Spirit's like, take the screwdriver. And you're like, I got this.
I'll go get it right now.
You're like, how many 16-year-olds will open their purse and go, I got it. Let's save
I have
it.
the screwdriver right here. Now, if you're driving around with a screwdriver in your purse, something's going to be really, wrong. It's not necessarily what you're supposed to do.
That's, you know what though? The amazing thing was you didn't question it. You did it and it worked because they were there. This is what I started off with saying. It makes me crazy when people dismiss how people in spirit show up for them. So you're saying too, and I've said it too growing up, oh my gosh, it was so weird. Or people saying to you and I saying, oh, your job is so weird. I have a story for you. And you're like, oh, come on, really? It's not. These are natural occurrences. If you're listening to them, they're helping you navigate your life. And you check it out. You saved your friends from whatever was going on. They're like, we need this. You're like, of course you do. I heard my guides. Here's your thing.
Well, it's funny because Julie is talking about it here. I'm just going to share this small little side story. It's not a small little side story, but it is a side story. It goes to like how I just really went. I went completely like turned off because after my dad died, I tell this. I should write this in a book sometime, and that's what's going to happen. Well. I knew, how do I say this? It's really, I'm intense. That's what I have to say is I'm intense. And what I'm going to say is probably no one in the whole entire world would do but me. My dad died. I knew the two gentlemen who owned the funeral home. I spent the night in the funeral home with my father and my soon-to-be ex-husband and my best friend. We were all in this room with my dad in a coffin. Yes, that's absolutely true. I woke up in the middle of the night and I looked down and the mattress was glowing, this beautiful, just amazing color blue. It was so gorgeous. And I was so like, just blinders on. I went back to sleep. Didn't even faze me that there was something odd going on. Nothing was odd about this at all. And then I went back to sleep, right? So the next thing that ends up happening is he wakes up beside me and totally flips out because he's like, this isn't supposed to be happening. This is not what's supposed to go on. It's not supposed to. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. This isn't supposed to be happening. So I kind of needed somebody else outside of me to be like, hello, what is that? I can't remember the name of that movie. Well, Melvin, whatever. Like, Aunt, we're right here waiting for you. So,
yeah, they're right in front of you.
Right in front of you. And they're right in front of everybody, which is one of the things we really wanted to talk about is all of this is happening in your life. It's real.
If there's another example that I hear quite frequently, and I want you to chime in on this, is
Look
that.
At this. Can you see my eyes? How cool I look right now?
And no, she's not channeling something bizarre. It's her backdrop.
How cool is that?
I told you it was weird.
I know you told me that, didn't you? But that's so cool.
I was worried about it.
Okay, I'm going to turn it off so it's not so annoying. Sorry.
So what I want to say is that what I hear often too is when someone will say to me, listen, my dad, my brother, my uncle, whomever that person that passed when they're in the hospital with them, if someone's sick and is about to transition, that they will talk about their loved one, talking about people that have passed away. And they'll discuss it and say, dad was talking about this person. It was 20, 30 years ago. How could he possibly be talking about that? It must be the medication. It must be the pain medication. Because you know what? How could they possibly know that? Why would they be talking about that? You know what? This is just crazy. This is ridiculous. No, it's not ridiculous. And this is what you've heard this before too, right? And you've seen it before when you've read people.
Yep.
People in spirit, when you're about to transition, no matter where you are, they show up, and they start to show up, and they kind of give you a couple days or weeks, and they'll show up and be like, hey, how are you? You good? Yeah, you want to talk? You want? And then you could dismiss them and say, do what you want to do, but they're going to keep coming back, and they keep coming back because they know what's happening in your life. And so that when they talk about that person's there in spirit waiting for them, and I think it's phenomenal, and it makes me upset that people dismiss this as being something from a medication, or, you know, they're unstable or something's wrong. And no, this is the absolute truth, that your people show up before you transition.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People, that happens all the time. And there have been books written by hospice workers that definitely talk about those experiences that they've watched. So I know that we are, I know that I want to make sure that people know that we're not going to be doing readings, but we are going to be discussing mediumship. So if you have a question, please write it down and send it in, because we would love to talk about all things mediumship. And we're inviting you into our homes to make sure that we have these conversations with you about it. So let's talk about evidence. Let's talk about evidence, baby. Let's talk about you and me. You know what? Will you be in my band, Ursula? I have did I tell you about my band I want to start?
No. Where it's going to be the mediumship band?
No. It's going to be called Middle-Aged Rage.
I'll be okay if it's called Rage. I'm not putting in the middle-aged part. I could care less.
Okay, the 28-year-old rage. 28/middle-aged old rage.
Hilarious. So you mentioned evidence. So what do you want to talk about with evidence? How that shows up, what that looks like? Where do you
let's talk about evidence. Let's talk about what makes a good mediumship reading. How about that?
I know what makes a bad one.
Okay, let's talk about what makes a bad mediumship reading. Let's talk about bad mediumship readings. There are a lot of them out there.
Well, I bring this up and I laugh about it is that my point is not to put energy into people that are using the title of being psychic or medium or any of those kinds of things, or that profession, that they're using it as manipulation. And my job, in my personal view, how I see things, is that it's my job to educate people and to inform them so they can make good choices about who they choose. And there's a phrase that I hear, and you tell me if you've heard it too, where someone will say to me, and I hear it all the time, "Oh my God, I had this reading from this psychic. It was the most incredible thing. They knew every single thing about me. And I kept the tape, or I kept the recording, or I kept that thing and I played it back. And they were right about like the first 25 years of my life." And I'm just like, really? What would that be? And it sounds like this. "Well, they told me that I was going to get married. Okay. They told me that I was going to have children. They told me that I was going to have a profession. These are all things that people I know do in our lives."
Yep.
So that's not a reading.
Right.
It's telling you something you already know. Telling you something that has a very strong possibility that could happen. So was that accurate? No. What would have made that accurate reading is that if the person said to you,
"Do it, Ursula, just tell me, because you
are
are
married at 24, your partner's name is Peter, his last name starts with an L, I'm pretty sure it's Wilson." They're also telling me and showing me Virginia, they're talking about that as well. I also see that there's 2 boys, but one of them isn't yours. Yeah. One of them comes into your family because your sister has an issue with her child, they become sick, they can't care for them, and this is where it goes. Your sister's name's Shelly, right? That's how a reading sounds. That's how an accurate reading sounds, is that they're giving you those details. So they're giving you those markers and what that looks like. It's not "you're going to get married." Okay, come on. Or you know what? Listen, Sally, let me tell you something. As soon as you sit down, something that I'm aware of is that I see a darkness around you.
This is so interesting. You know what happened today? I got to tell you this, because I am just like so turned inside out about this, all these conspiracy theories right now. And this guy, and literally we had this conversation last night, Ursula, about like, I see a darkness around you. Because the truth is, if you're doing readings or sessions for somebody, you can do damage. You can do things where people say, "I have this darkness around me." And then then there's like, especially for people who are really preying on people. Right? It's
so
like,
if we dumb it down though, and I'm not trying to be rude about this, is if someone has said to you, "I see a darkness around you," if you're going to someone for a reading and you've never had one before, and you don't know what it should or should not look like, or what those parameters or boundaries are, or how to look for someone who's a good reader, and if they say to you, "I see darkness around you,"
Right.
That's manipulative, because the first thing is when you think of darkness, you think of negative things, you think of scary things, you think of something horrible. So now your brain goes to, oh my God, that really bad thing that just happened. It's going to get worse. What am I going to do? Oh my God, they should tell me what's going to happen because I'm not going to be able to cope.
Right.
No. If the person said to you, you know what, Sally, I see that you're suffering with depression. I see that you've been suffering with it since the age of 11. And then I'm aware that you do have PTSD and that this is what you're reacting to. And this is why. And I can see that you're suffering. And this is where you're going to be heading to because this is what's happening for you. That's
Right.
the difference. That's the difference in a reading. And
That's
someone who's manipulating you is going to say something to you that makes you fearful.
Right. 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 That's
They
a
will
really
do anything to make you scared. Like, who lights a candle?
Oh yeah. There's this the people with the psychic reading in neon.
The neon sign.
Neon signs.
The neon sign.
Don't go to the neon signs.
Don't do the neon sign.
You might be
Run.
like they're pretty, really advertising, and they're like, oh, they're really. You know what? I'll light a candle for you for $500 for the next 30 days. I'll say a prayer for you, and then maybe everything. That's just a bunch of crap. That's not. That is trying to make money, a quick buck, and that's.
My friend's mother-in-law, no word of a lie, said to me, do you know about this medium, blah, blah, blah? And I said, no. And I said, well, where were they located? She goes, oh, well, I had to take my mother-in-law to the strip mall to see her.
To the strip mall.
Is that a sign yet? No? Bells and whistles going off yet? No, there's more. Here it comes.
Okay, let's hear it.
In with her, and the medium said, oh, no. So she said to my friend, you can't be here. Only she can be here. Only this is the person to be here. I can't do this. Which, for anybody, normally reading someone one-on-one makes sense because you could read the other person. So that's kind of legit. She took the mother-in-law aside, who is someone who's a senior, who, just relies on the income that she has.
Right.
He had her cough up $2,500 within 20 minutes to pay for the curse to be removed from her.
That's the curses. That's right. No. If anybody is listening to this, and everybody's like, if there's the only thing you take away from this, do not go to psychics who are like going to light candles for you or take away curses, because
if a psychic tells you that they're gonna make your life better, doing something for you or helping you in some way, and you have to cough up an amount of money that's ridiculous, or any amount of money other than the payment for the reading,
right?
Run light your money up and hand it to them. It's the same deal. They're taking that vacation to some exotic place. They're pocketing your money. You're suffering and confused and scared because they're telling you something horrible is happening with you. This is why your family members are sick. That's why you're sick. That's why you're having bad luck. Luck doesn't exist.
Right. Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah. Super, super shady. That stuff is, So I'm going to say, make sure you come get me. Especially, do not go down to State Street. Do not go to the chick that has I think it's a little brown house now, and she's got like a psychic readings, open sign. Don't go there.
The best time, and this is what I can give you too, and you tell me if you're on track with this. The best person to see for you is someone who, if a friend, someone who knows you, who cares about you, has seen someone, doesn't have to be me or Jenny, whomever, and they've referred them to you and have been able to share specific details and evidence that this psychic or medium knew about them without ever asking them a question.
Right.
That person's legitimate.
Right.
And if that referral is, if your friend says to you, listen, I had this reading with Angela, and Angela said all these different details, all these different names, locations, places, details, things that she could never have known about me. Go see that person and send them my name, or send me their name so I can see them too.
That's actually good. Right.
I want to see them too. When I've had people say to me, oh my gosh, this person's amazing, and I've seen them for a reading and I was like,
Yep. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. I mean, I will too, because, and we spoke about this last night, is the same thing. Like, we're just out. If we got information for ourselves, because what would we be doing? Would we be living in, I know you're up in Canada, so Ursula's in Canada, and I'm just like, this is Ursula Darby. We should have like a little miniature small break. Like, we're taking everyone, this is Ursula Darby, the psychic medium.
hi.
And she's an animal communicator. She is located in Canada, and she's in
Ontario. I'm in Ontario.
She's an Ontario girl. She's in that province. And she is amazingly Canadian. I don't know. I love Canadians.
What do you mean, eh?
I mean,
Want me to do that for you?
did you say you're sorry yet? Have you said sorry yet? No.
All
Sorry.
right,
That's
it's
bullshit.
very prominent here that if someone else bumps into, or if you bump into somebody, you tell them you're sorry. If they bump into you, you still say you're sorry.
Sorry.
And they bump into you. Oh, excuse me, sorry. That was another one. Excuse me, sorry. Excuse me, sorry. Always sorry.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I like reintroduced you, because we had people come in, and then we had people leave, and then we had a whole nother swell of people come in. So I thought I would just take a moment to reintroduce you. Ursula and I met at a, what did we say earlier? We had
a class for mediums.
For mediums.
So we went because we wanted to learn some kind of new interesting tool. And oh, sorry, if you hear any purring or loud sounds, that's my cat, Saoirse. Yeah, that's not a Canadian name, it's Gaelic.
It's Gaelic. It's not Canadian.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, we met in the class. We were looking to learn some new skills and be introduced to something, and that was probably it was a really interesting class.
Where do we go with that? Sometimes when you get a bunch of mediums together, I'll leave it like that.
Well, what I come across that people often say to me, do you have other friends that are psychics or mediums? And I have a few. Janny is one of them that I trust and care about. I have 2 others. That's it. Yeah. I really limit meeting other psychics or mediums, and it comes from a place of when I was growing up and before this became my profession. Every person that I'd met that could call themselves psychic or an intuitive development teacher or a medium or any of those things were awful to me. I would tell them my experiences.
Sorry, my sister just called me. I'm so sorry. She's just calling me.
Is she calling you on Facebook?
I don't know. Could somebody call Auntie Amy, tell her I can't talk, please?
Was that?
Everybody's phone is dead.
Take 2. Anyone that I've met, when I reached out to someone who called themselves psychic or a medium, and I would tell them my experiences before this became my profession, they would tell me that I was making it up. Okay. They would tell me that those kinds of things can't possibly happen. Right. That I was lying about it, and only if I followed their program, forked over my money, and studied with them or mentored with them, would I be able to grow or change or learn anything at all. So I met a long list of manipulators, and I found it really disheartening because I wasn't embraced. I wasn't accepted.
I mean, let's really talk about that for a second, because you actually had, and Ursula is an amazing, amazing medium. Her evidence is so deep. She is somebody that I learned from. I've learned from her just by being her friend. And she's amazing. Maybe I should have paid you. Now that I think about that, I couldn't afford you. I'm just telling you that.
Your friendship pays everything.
And so you actually, can I say what happened? Can I say, like, other mediums came up and said, what are you doing here? You're not a medium. Like,
at the class that we went to? The very first night we had an exercise in the class that we met in. And so we had to practice with each other. And I hadn't done what they were showing us. So I sat down in front of this person. She introduced herself and she looked at me, and we didn't even start to practice. And she leaned in and she touched my hand and she said, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "Pardon?" She's like, "You're not a psychic or a medium. Why are you here?"
That's awful.
I was like, it felt like someone had punched me, because I'm like, we're in a room full of mediums learning a new technique and a new skill and being introduced to some new ideas that I hadn't been exposed to before. And that was the first thing she'd said to me. I had been approached that way in so many different times. I went to the first and only time in my life, ever in my career, I hired a table. I rented a table at a psychic fair once in my career, people.
I did that once too. I've done it once.
Once was enough.
Once was
enough. And I was at the table. I would take a break to go to the washroom or go get a drink, and other psychics at other tables, because you would see them around or sitting beside you, because it was fair of it, right? they'd walk up to me, touch my shoulder and say, "You need to go home." I'm like, "Pardon? You need to go home. You're shit at this. Go home."
Ah,
And I was like, "What's going on?" I recall that one. I think it was over 500 exhibitors. At least 20 people came up to me and insulted me to my face and told me, "You don't know what you're doing. Go home." And I had people lined up for 3 days straight out the door waiting to see me.
that's the part that I cannot stand about the metaphysical mediumship world, is that it's so, it
Competitive. There's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of insecurity. No one thinks there's 7 billion people in the world, people.
7 billion, right? Only 30 of them, only 30 million are in Canada though. So.
Right? We're such a big country, but so few people.
So few people. We all need to go there. Oh, Kaylin Merrill said, "I'm sure they were threatened by you." And I think that's true. I think they were threatened by you. I think that people think that there's not enough and I have to cut somebody else down, or like, and
Not enough mentality. And there's enough. 7 billion people. I can't possibly read 7 billion people. I'm already kind of tuckered out.
I'll try.
I know you would. And you didn't do any preparation. You jump in front of everybody else. "Here we go, people!" And you'd read everyone.
Let's read everyone. Yeah.
Everyone.
No stone unturned, man.
Yeah, that's what I love about you. You're the most tenacious. What I admire about you, you're tenacious,
Aww.
you're persistent, resilient, and you don't give yourself enough credit. I mean, you've done so many different things, and where I would have overthought about doing something and make a decision in my profession with what I've done or events, anything, and you're like, "Yep." I don't think you've said no to anybody. When someone has asked you to do something, hey Jenny, we're doing this event, this show, and I don't mean like a psychic fair, just be a part of this thing. We want you to come and talk or be a part of it and do these different things. You're like, "Yeah." And I would have been like, "Let me think about this for a little while." And you're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Get him. Go get him, girl."
It's been I almost feel, well, I don't know. I don't know, not getting any younger. That's all I do know.
Your experiences have changed so much too. Like Jenny's the only medium that I know that does zero preparation before reading anyone.
That is true. That is not the normal thing, right? That is not normal. Not the norm.
For me, because my experiences have been so prevalent and visceral that I've had to work really hard to get people in spirit to leave me alone when I'm not working. And Jenny has expressed to me, just so before a reading, so let's say you have answer this for me, before you have a group reading, let's say 3 days from now, you have a group reading at 7:00 and the day rolls around. What happens to you during the day before the group reading?
Oh, everything.
Right?
Happens. Everything happens.
What? Give me examples.
Spirits start showing up. They'll come up with, I'll see a name a couple of times, or I remember this was such a great group reading. And, most readings, and I'm sure you are the same way. Like, I don't remember most readings because I got to live my own crazy life, and that's got crazy stuff happening with it. And it's got its up and downs, and lots of downs, and then some ups, but lots of downs, and a couple more downs.
Yeah.
And get it. So I remember going to this one reading, and it was so eventful because I was driving down the road. So one of the ways I get ready when I go to a group reading, I know it's a convoluted, sorry, Ursula.
No, I want to hear it. Go.
Is I will just go to a group reading and I am jamming like hardcore rap music. Yeah. Hardcore rap music. Just
never, ever in my life would I ever do that before reading a group. Go on.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm jamming out like hardcore rap music. I am like, some of it is going way back to NWA. I'm doing like lots and lots of stuff. It's just super loud. So if you ever hear like this minivan going down the road listening to hardcore DMC, whatever, old school, new school, Tech Nine, you name it, I'm listening to it. And this one time at band camp, this one time I was driving down to Sal's, and I was doing this reading, and I look over and I like see a whole scene of like, it's so fast. Spirit is so fast. The messages are so quick.
What'd you say?
I saw this woman, this father taking a daughter to a playground, swinging on a swing, and then I saw him like with a deer in the backyard. So I came out and I was like, I'm seeing a playground.
Hold on, was that visual present to you, or did that pop in your head when you looked over?
Oh, it popped in my head. For me, it popped in my head.
That's what I'm saying to you. So that's what I'm asking you. So when you looked over driving there,
it's like
these people weren't there.
No.
You saw the playground. You saw
Yep.
the mother and the father and the child. It was like a full visual, like you're watching a video.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. It was like,
Awesome.
oh, that's for tonight. And then I said like everything that I had said, and they were like, boom, boom, boom. Like, yep, all of this. They were kind of like, what? I said, oh, and your dad used to pick asparagus. And they're like, yes.
He used to pick asparagus.
Yeah.
That's evidence. That's evidence.
That's
Honestly,
evidence.
never in a reading have I ever said to someone, your dad picks asparagus.
You've never said that?
Honestly, I mean, I've said some really bizarre things to people, but not that one. I remember
wild asparagus at that. This was on the could spot it from the side of the road, see it, and go down and pick it. But I will.
That's amazing though, because that's how important that was to him, that he had to show you that so you could so your clients could recognize him. That's phenomenal evidence. Honestly, we joke about it, but seriously, Spirit will show you. For Janny and I, they'll show us things that their loved one here will know about, and
right.
Very specific about it. They're not going to be the worst mediumship ever. Not me.
Not you. No.
Someone who walks in front of the group and goes, "I have a male in spirit." Really? Just one male, nothing else. To the person in the back in the blue shirt, this man in spirit says hi. That's not mediumship.
That's not mediumship. No.
That's not mediumship. That's not how this works. If that person said, I have a male in spirit, he passed at the age of 63, he's showing me April 12th. He's letting me know I'm hearing the name Andrew, but I'm also hearing Joe that's in front of it. He's showing me that he has 2 daughters, the one in the blue shirt at the back. This is dad. Boom. Yes, it is. Thank you.
Yeah, Ursula is her evidence is bang on amazing. I mean, you are amazing when it comes to this. This is just awesome.
Vagueness makes me crazy. And the same thing, and the thing is for you is what amazes me is that I take a lot of time to prepare before a reading. Jenny, you could throw her in front of a crowd and she's like, I got this, go, bing, bang, boom. And I would do one of these. I think I have to pee. And then I'd go prepare in the bathroom. Oh, there's one for you. Every time.
The bathroom. Every time we're in a right?
Every time I do a group reading, so Janny and I do group readings, so we read groups of people in their home that have their own private setting. I go to the client's home. This is what happens every time. When I get to their home, okay, because I do a lot of preparation. I meditate ahead of time, talk to my spirit guides, I talk to people in spirit that are coming, invite them in, all these kinds of things. When I get there, I always ask the homeowner if I can use the washroom. I don't have to go. Now people are going to see this and know this. I don't have to go. I get in the bathroom, I sit down, and then I invite everyone in spirit. Times where I've had to go. And I remember a few years ago, I had a group reading with people that I'd gone to high school with. And when I got in the bathroom, I went to the bathroom and a man in spirit, pants around my ankles, going to the bathroom. He starts talking to me and he's standing right in front of me, watching me pee.
In spirit, like
in spirit, clear as day, and he's talking away to me like he doesn't know I'm urinating. He tells me his name, who he is. I pull up my pants, I clean up, I get all ready, I come back out in the living room. I'm like, I got this man. This is his name. This was saying what he does.
Just
That's
like
my dad. I'm like, excellent. He just watched me pee.
He just watched me. Because here's a great, this is super important to talk about. Spirit is opportunistic. If they see an opportunity where they're going to get through a message. Now, Ursula and I are not, what we're doing here is not, we don't sift the messages out. We don't decide who gets the messages. That is not our job at all. That does not happen. What happens is Spirit works to put people in a room. We show up and we just give what's given to us. We give it, we get it, we give it, we get it, we give it, we get it, we give it. And there's no rhyme or reason to who gets it because you never know what anybody needs in that room. There could be somebody, and I've had this happen, somebody who's incredibly suicidal in the room. they're gonna get a reading. They are 100% gonna, but nobody else around them knows that. They don't know why. And I'm not gonna tell them why unless I take them in the back room or someplace. I'll do that and I don't know if you do that, but that's something I do. If I think it's important, whether it be it's just you don't like to share your business with other people, sometimes spirit will say, this is something that needs to be in private, and I'll take somebody in the back room or, a side room or away from everybody else.
To use that example, when I'm reading an audience or a group, the same kind of thing, is that when I'm reading, like you said, whatever you and I, whatever we get, we give. So I see, hear, feel, same as you. I feel it in my body. I see it like I'm watching a movie, and I hear as well. So if I'm messaging someone and I'm giving them the details that I'm getting, you got to remember, I'm actually seeing what's happening to them or what they want me to know.
Right.
So I will see someone who's being abusive. I will see someone who's been hurt. I will see violence. I will see illness. I will see those kinds of things. And if they're really frightening and too detailed to share in front of people, because it can be really jarring, I don't really want to say in front of someone and say, listen, you know what? I know you're physically abused and you were thrown down the stairs.
Right.
I don't want to say that in front of people. So I'll do one of these. So your dad's showing me this, this, and this. He's letting me know about these things. Your mom is here. Her mom's name is Lorianne. And dad's letting me know that things aren't good between you and him when you were growing up, right?
Right.
And the person will look at me and go, what do you mean? And I'm like, okay, so I'm now editing. The relationship wasn't good between the two of you in any way. Do you remember the blue railing on the stairs? And the clock at the bottom of the stairs? And then the person will say, yeah, I'll talk to you afterwards. I don't want to say it in front of them. I'll take them aside afterwards and say, this was physical, this is what's going on. Because I'm hearing what Dad's saying, but I don't want to say it on the mic or in front of everyone else either. Because some of those things are really personal. They can be really jarring and really upsetting. And people can feel traumatized again sometimes. And that's not my intent or your intent either.
Right.
But if people in spirit want us to see it, they're also showing us, because there's validity in it. And if that person was abusive, they tend to come through to show remorse and say that they're sorry for what they've done.
Yeah, because they can see they can see a better picture. They don't get to see everything.
Yeah.
You don't cross the other side and see everything. That's not how it works.
Yeah. Listen, if I knew everything, my life would be so different. I'd be younger, I'd be smaller, I'd live in a tropical place too. And I've had an unlimited bank account too, so I could just do anything.
I know, right? I'd won the lotto by now. I think what ends up happening is this is what I think. This is part of our little my theory is that if we could, like, I think that if we could, like, win the lotto, we would just, like, retire. And then there wouldn't be you and me working. Like, we would be doing this. They would be like, you got to keep going. You can't stop.
Well, spirit wouldn't take a break, right? Even if you and I won the lottery and we could retire from it, spirit wouldn't take a break. They wouldn't take a break from me. They'd be like, so Ursula, flick, light would turn on in the middle of the night. I'd be like, listen, you know what? This is not cool. I've had enough of you today. I don't have any readings booked. You need to stop. Well, my sister Michelle needs to see you. Listen, your sister Michelle had a reading 3 weeks ago. Well, she's going to book one. It doesn't matter. I'm retired.
I'm retired. We're not.
I was retired. I'm just saying it would still happen.
Well, there's a good question coming in right now, because I know that you fight with this, and how do you turn it off? Can you close the mental door? Like, how does that end up working for you?
For me, I have different exercises and things that I do. No, not physical working out, because I would look a little bit different. I have exercises and boundaries, and I work with 4 spirit guides that work specifically for me. So I have a routine with them, and I shut down. So I go through a meditation and a visualization to shut down when I'm done work. And if someone in spirit is still seeking out information or being an opportunist, because that happens, and I understand why.
Yeah.
And this may sound insincere, but I have to ignore them, because if I don't ignore them, this is what's going to happen.
Darn it!
Right.
It's starting right now. Is it just happening to you right now, guys? Like, oh man.
Yeah. If I acknowledge that person that's getting my attention, then they won't leave me alone. So I'm not going to do this.
It's crazy, because you and I at the same time, different, like, like we both started getting distracted. Like,
yeah. Okay. So here's my question.
Are you seeing more questions than I am?
No, I'm not seeing any questions whatsoever. I need to ask something then of who's watching, if this is connected to you, Jenny. What's
Okay.
because the thing is, I don't know geography very well with where you are at all. I'm actually most times when
Oh,
I'm
you
meeting,
are going to be, you're going to be doing this, eh?
not my intent. Here's my question then.
Okay.
What's the connection of Lake Michigan to you?
To me,
Yeah,
Lake Michigan is someplace I go every summer.
thank you. So there's the area though too, that there's a lot of areas that you can rent cottages, or a lot of cottages that are along this area, or a lot of places where people go camping to in this area as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Who's is this a friend of yours then? So there's a gentleman who's showing me this, who's past in his 30s. His name's Marty or Martin. Tall, dark hair, kind of curly, kind of wavy, has glasses, a little bit of facial hair, slim, funny. Drug user.
He's what?
Drug user. You hear me? Pot smoker, drug user.
Oh, drug user. Okay. I think I is that person alive? I don't know. I mean, there's an interesting. I don't know if I can really take that right. Wait, say that one more time.
Connected to this location, because they're showing me the location. They're showing me that there was a drowning here. This feels like this is them. I'm hearing the name Marty. So what's the connection? Marty or Martin? Who's that?
I don't know. For me, I have. I'm trying to think. The only Marty that I have, I think, is still alive. Actually,
Bell-bottom jeans. They're showing me what they're wearing. So they're dressed very 70s, like bell-bottom jeans. They're showing me their outfit. They're showing me their clothes, what they look like, everything. And it's funny because thank you. See, fine, whatever. This has got to be someone who's watching then.
Okay, because I was hearing drips of water over here. Is actually like what I was starting to hear is drips of water. So I'm going to see if nobody is saying anything yet. So let's just see if anybody pops up.
He's talking about his sister. Her sister's alive.
I have a Billy, but that's not a Marty.
No.
Does anybody out there in Facebook world have a Marty? So
I'm leaving this alone. I don't want to do this. I'm not doing this. La 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 la
okay.
la la. So he's showing me his sister, that her sister is alive.
Just give, if you have anything to give, just give it. Don't worry about validation right now. Just send it out, and then it'll be done. I'm not seeing anybody saying anything yet.
He's saying to me, so the message is that he's showing me, he's letting me know that she's having a really stressful, difficult time. He's letting me know that there's something to do with finances, and that his youngest daughter is having a lot of difficulty. Her youngest daughter is having a lot of difficulty that needs her attention. She's 14.
14?
Yeah. So it's because I want to say too that mom is really overwhelmed and not noticing what's happening around her, that her daughter is in distress. That's what he's showing me. Thing is, coolest, laid back, most fun guy whatsoever. This was an accident that had happened, that he had drowned. And he's showing me that it was by the dock and by the boat. The water was only up to his chest.
There is a vague, like, a memory coming back right now about, but this is some, do you know, I'm going to ask you this question. Do they pass by themselves, or do they have somebody with them?
There were people in the cottage that was nearby, because I'm being shown, so he's showing me, the water comes out here, the property comes up, and the cottage is over here. So it was a walk slope down over to the cottage furthest away. So there's a bit of a gap of a walk to get to the cottage, to the water. You couldn't have raced to the water.
You couldn't have what?
You couldn't have raced down to the water and caught him. He drowned before they got there.
Wow. Well, we'll just get, how about?
That's okay, I'm not worried about it. I'm not gonna stress about it.
All right.
They snuck in, moving on.
They snuck in, and we were doing that at all. So there you go.
Not doing that, just happened. Never mind. Look away. Look away, people.
And this is the one thing that I do know about mediumship when we're giving it on Facebook, or we're doing it in YouTube, or doing it anywhere, is that I know that message is for someone.
Oh, for sure. I trust it 1,000%.
Yeah, they may not be, and then we can talk, like, I think this is a good segue actually into trusting spirit, because they may not be watching it now, they may watch it later, and it works out the way it is always supposed to work out. So how, like, I say that every time when I go into, I trust people who've crossed the other side way more than I do anybody that's alive. I trust the dead way more than I do trust the living.
Agreed.
I know we have 42 people watching us and nobody's saying anything. So that's just like,
wow, they're all kinds of quiet. What is going on?
They're like, are you guys like just completely enthralled in what's going on? Because that's what I'm feeling like right now. I gotta say, I think I might need to, I would like to be like, I just like the pink in my hair right now. What are you thinking? You like it?
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot too. Gives like depth to my eyes or something. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, so here's an example. So remember how you just said, talking about, and we're going to wrap this up now soon, yeah? Talking about.
We've been on for like an hour. Do you know that?
Yeah, okay. No, I know. Is that, so when I just said to you what had happened, who had shown up in spirit, and I trust that someone who's watching is going to get this.
Yeah.
One of my examples is, and I can't post it because I haven't asked permission of my client yet, but I'm not going to use her name. So when I'm reading people, I always give details, and I read online. I've been reading online, over the phone or online for 8 years now, eight years of my 16 years.
Okay, wait a second. Before we go on, will you please say your website? And will you say?
I'll say my website and contact information when we're done. We're just going to wrap up in a few minutes, right?
Okay, all right.
Okay, I'll say that, not to worry. Okay. So my client says to me after her email, so she sends me an email and says, "Thank you so much. I feel like I could have talked to you for hours and hours, laugh out loud. P.S. I talked to my mom afterwards."
Oh.
And so just to remind everybody who's watching, when I read, I always give details. So even when a client says to me, if I say, "Listen, who's Barry?" and they go, "I don't know." I'm like, they're showing me they passed from this. I don't know. This is where they're located. I don't know. And the more that you say, "I don't know," I'm not concerned about it, because that person in spirit is so persistent that I'm still going to give it to you, because I know for a fact that they need to reach.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I give it anyway, right? So she says this to me. She says, "P.S. I talked to my mom after my reading, and someone who was coming through was her brother."
Oh.
You said his birthday, because I give the month and day of someone's birthday.
That's amazing.
The name of his wife, Shirley, which you mentioned, and she had leukemia, which you said, and he died of a heart attack, which you also said. You were bang on. I just didn't know because I didn't know them very well.
That's
that's there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that happens a lot. And this isn't me showboating or that kind of stuff. It's letting you know, you and I both know how much we trust spirit, and we always give it anyway. Because
I got a showboat for you then, because you are absolutely, utterly amazing. And
when you trust people in spirit and they're telling you, because really they changed my life. I wouldn't be here. If I didn't listen to spirit for all those times they're getting my attention when I was a kid and didn't make this my profession, I would not be where I am. But it's the only thing in my life that makes me feel like myself when I'm reading. It's the most incredible feeling, and I'm really grateful.
Absolutely. I love that you say that. Like, it's the only thing that makes you feel like you.
The only profession. Listen, I'm a makeup artist, still am. Can you tell?
You're so beautiful. You are so beautiful.
Yeah, no jokes. I'm a makeup artist. As a comedian, I've worked in hospitality for years as well. I was a registered massage therapist here in Ontario and in Canada. It's really a lot of training. The bonus of having that was that it taught me discernment, because people in spirit would show up with every single treatment that I had. So it really helped me that way. But it got exhausting. So I gave up my license to do this full time.
Right.
And it just, mediumship has always shown up in my life. Same as it's shown up for you as well. And every single thing that I've done has helped it. Being in stand-up has helped me be great in front of the camera. Doing acting is helped me be on camera and being good on the mic and not getting wavered or kind of freaked out about stuff. And of course, I'm always anxious before a reading, aren't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know we talked about that a little bit, but I absolutely, before every meeting, every group, everything, there is just like a total freak out zone of like. Yeah.
Here, my cat has to. She's driving me crazy. Come here. Come here.
Let's see, Ursula. Aw.
Say hi. Peek. Narcy. She's running around my legs as I'm sitting here, and I'm sitting at a desk, and her paws keep coming up the other side of the desk. It's the creepiest look altogether. It's really weird. And she's like, and she's rubbing everything. So she's marking everything. She's like, "You're mine. You're mine. You're mine. That's yours. That's mine. That's mine. Is that yours?
That's mine. That's mine."
So, how do you find me?
Yeah, how do you find Ursula? How do you find you? Where do we find you?
I'm on lots of different social media platforms. So if you want to visit my website, it's ursuladarby.com. So you spell Ursula, U-R-S-U-L-A, Darby, D-A-R-B-Y.com, ursuladarby.com. My Facebook page is Ursula Darby Psychic Medium. My Instagram is Ursula Darby Psychic Medium, and my YouTube is Ursula Darby Psychic Medium as well. And I'm on SoundCloud too. Oh, you are on, and oh, you know what? The SoundCloud that you have, you actually were interviewed by a very prominent TV, Toronto station in Toronto. I was on the Josie Dye show for 2 hours live. Yeah. I loved it. It was awesome.
Well, look at that. Marlene C. Hogue says,
Oh, what'd she say?
what'd she say? She said, I've seen Ursula in a group setting at someone's home, and she is so genuine, straightforward, and brings humor to everything. And I love humor. That's how I spell humor, because it's the Canadian way. That's
H-U-M-O-U-R.
M-O-U-R, not O-R. And then I had, actually, when I had a proctor or a GSA when I was at university tell me no, and then said, this is the English blah, blah, blah that they stopped using and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know, 1862, something like that.
It's written that way in Canada. Behavior has a U.
So, Ursula, we have talked about it, and I know that we've talked a little bit, and I'm looking for your feedback out there, Facebook world and the YouTube world, because I'm going to be putting this up on YouTube. I haven't talked to you about that, but I did record it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, I would like to do this more, and I'd like to have Ursula on here more, but I need to hear from you. I need to know.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from everyone as well. I'd like to hear feedback as well, because first of all,
let me just say this first. I work kind of without feedback. If you don't give feedback, she's not coming back. So say something. Right? Be like, no, Ursula. Like, these people want to hear more. They're going to show up. They're going to be talkative. They're going to email you, private message me, whatever you got to do. But make sure you tell me that you want to have Ursula here. And I am looking to kind of expand this channel to kind of not just do mediumship and promote myself, but promote other mediums that are great mediums. And absolutely, if you have it, do it. Get a session with Ursula. She's amazing.
I'd like to come back and read Riley for you.
Oh, read Riley. He's kind of had a
dog, Riley. So ask everybody if you guys want me to come back and read Riley. Read Jenny's dog for her here live on Facebook Live. I'll totally do that.
Read my dog.
I'll read your dog. All I need is his picture. You don't have to put him up in front of the camera and make him all uncomfortable.
Oh, you don't think he? Oh,
no, he's not going to have it. He's going to be like, no.
We want to spend every night with you two. That's what somebody just said. Would you, Ursula, do a group? Would you, Ursula, do a virtual group reading? I know I'm looking into that. Would we do a bang on double group reading?
I would, yeah.
Oh, we should think about that. That would be good.
I wouldn't think about it. I would totally do it. That's a yes.
Totally do it. Great.
That's a yes.
Lots of people are giving feedback. So everybody's watching. They've just been engrossed. It's been a big joy and light in their day. Oh, that's so sweet.
What I was looking for tonight, and I honestly, Jenny, thank you so much for inviting me. You know what?
You're awesome. I love you.
Like I said, you're one of the most tenacious people that I know, and you're brilliant, and you just can't rein your excitement in, and that's what I love about you, because I like to be just as worked up and just like, because what I want to say is that with our friendship and getting to know each other and how we both work is that Jenny has worked really hard when she hasn't needed to.
Oh.
The information has always been available to her, and the same as me with growing in how I've come about, and I still work at it. Every single reading is still practice for me, no matter what, even with it being a profession. Is that this is hard work, and not only does it affect you in your work as you're booked with clients, but it affects your life in every other way too. And Jenny has such courage and strength and tenacity, and she has pushed for so many different things. And gosh, she has way more energy than I do. Like she's incredible. Like she never stops. So I want everyone who's watching to clap and be like, oh my gosh, be so grateful that this woman does what she does in the way that she does. And she makes herself available when she works full time, and she has a family to care for, and she has all these different responsibilities. And no matter what, I have never seen her waver. She shows up here, and she shows up here for you. And I want you to show her that support too, because I love you. I think you're great.
I love you so much, Ursula. You are just amazing. And I am so, I know that at that class we went to, because granted, we talked about this in the beginning where we went to this. I know I'm still keeping you here. Sorry. we went to that class.
Together. We took class together for mediums. Yeah.
You came from Toronto. You were in Toronto then. You were
I was in Bolton at the time.
That's where you were. You were in Bolton, then you went to Hamilton, then you went to Toronto, then you went to Guelph, and
I moved a lot.
You moved a lot. And that's kind of what happens. Mediums we're versatile, we're able, we're movable. Anyway, so
pick us
my
up
whole
and take
point-
us anywhere.
my whole point is you came from there. I came from Colorado. We were in Maine.
Right. We met in Maine.
We met in Maine.
Yeah.
And
How was that going to happen that we were going to bump into each other, become good friends?
never ever any other way. And that was like the last day you and I sat next to each other, and I was like, I was just so like amped up, and I was not reading anybody. I was not doing any. I was just done. I was not doing anything. You were like, okay, are you okay? You were like,
I want to go home. I'm like, okay, go home, go home. I'm so glad we've stayed friends and stayed in touch. Thank you for having me. Mwah.
Amazing. I love
Oh,
you.
my love.
Everybody,
Thank you.
I'll see you guys
Bye,
tomorrow,
bye, guys.
and we'll figure out another day with Ursula, and definitely check out, find her, get on her Facebook page, like her, get on her Instagram, find that, all of it.
We can post it afterwards in the comments.
Yes, absolutely. Bradley needs to go outside. All right, bye.
Bye.
See you later. See everybody later. Bye.